Well, hey there everyone. So I was looking in my fabric stash trying to decide what I wanted to do this week, and I happened upon some more fabric that sparked an idea. So we're going to do another summer outfit this week because I am in desperate need of more summer looks that aren't just the same 2 pairs of shorts and 3 pairs of shirts. So that's what we're going to be doing. But instead of just sewing, we're also going to crochet this week because I felt the need to crochet. So I this summer at least have notoriously failed every single summer shirt that I have tried to crochet. So we're gonna risk it one more time to see if I can crochet a summer top, because I feel like I'm best at sweaters just because they're like rectangles and they're supposed to be loose, but when it comes to crocheting something that is like supposed to be fitting, it doesn't work for me. So we're gonna attempt it one last time and we're gonna see what happens. So basically I'm going for like a yellow kind of mood because it's summer, and the material that I found was yellow. So we're gonna make a top and bottom duo basically. So we're gonna start with the crochet because I felt like starting with the crochet and I didn't feel like dealing with the bottoms yet. So I got a pattern from this lovely person on Etsy. It's just for a pretty generic crochet top. I probably could have gone without it, probably could have figured it out, but I liked the assurance of having a pattern and not screwing it up one more time. So I did get this pattern and I did use it for the base. Color wise, it's just from my own head. So the colors that I was thinking is, I've had this idea board of what I wanted to crochet for a bit, which is like pretty much like the pattern of gingham, where it's like the squares, so you have white, a lighter color, and a darker color, and it looks like they're all crossing kind of thing. I'll put a picture somewhere to make more sense. So I picked out some yellows because my bottom material is yellow, so I wanted to match it with the top. So I picked out a white, a light yellow, and then a dark yellow to make this like square pattern, this like picnic blanket kind of pattern. And so basically what's going to happen with that is I'm going to do increments of 10, I believe. So the bottom row with the bottom like squares will be white, yellow, white, yellow, white, yellow. And then once you get to the next color sequence, it'll be light yellow on top of the white and then dark yellow on top of the yellow. So when you see it all together, it'll make more sense. But that's the color sequence that I'm doing, and I'm just doing some color changing to make it look like that. So I only did that pattern for the front panel because that took entirely too long. I would have needed at least one more day if I was going to do the back panel with the color changing and with that style, that like crochet, what's it called? That stitch. So for the back, I just did plain white with, I believe, single crochet to the measurements that I needed. And then for the bottom, I added a little ribbing on the bottom and then just a simple like single crochet-ish strap. So that's pretty much the sequence of the crochet top. I'm gonna leave you to that and then I'm gonna catch you back in just a second. I believe I used a 3.25mm hook for this project, at least for the front, and so I think I did about 95 stitches so that I can do increments of 10 and then a little extra of 5 on the end to get the correct measurement for this top. So every 10 stitches I would switch colors, and then after 5 rows I would switch to the other color sequence of the squares. So I just keep doing that until I got my desired height pretty much. And I also didn't worry about making it too terribly long because I knew that I was going to be adding a ribbing to the bottom, so that was definitely going to add some length as well. The yellow also inspired me to eat some yellow foods, so I had some popcorn and I also had some lemonade because it was just very yellow and it felt like the vibe. So eventually, once you get towards the top, you want to start in decrease for the top neckline. So that's what I started doing here. And then once I've finished all of that, I can go ahead and start tucking in my ends. For the back, I believe I used a 4.0 sized hook, I think. Just because I knew I didn't need to use as small of a hook, and I'm just doing regular single crochet, so I just kind of wanted it to go as fast as it could. So I just kind of did that for the back. And then once I matched the height of the sides before I started the neckline, then I could go ahead and start sewing things together. Again, emphasis on, please, if you're using acrylic, it's such a good idea to iron it on the low acrylic setting with tons of steam. It honestly just loosens up the project so much and it makes it fit so much better. Also, it helps to iron out the seams so it doesn't look so wonky. Then once I got the back panel sewed onto the front panel, I can go ahead and start adding the ribbing. So I just did 1 round of single crochet around the bottom, and then I could start my ribbing of 7 around the bottom. I also added a small little layer of single crochet around the front, and then once I did my straps, we were all done. Okay, now that the crocheted shirt is done, we can move on to the bottoms. So I was going back and forth on what I wanted to do for the bottoms, and I landed on doing a wrap skirt. So this is a very, very simple construction. Pretty much I took the mini skirt pattern from this lovely person on Etsy that I have used in a few other videos. I think I also used in the Tinkerbell video. So I'm going to be using that pattern, but I'm going to extend it just a little bit for giving me a little bit more room. And so basically what that pattern has you do is you cut out 1 front and 1 back, but to get like the wrap effect, I need a back piece and 2 front pieces. So I'm going to cut out 1 of the back pieces on a fold and then 2 of the front pieces on a fold. Then from there, I'm going to sew them together down the sides, and I took out a bit of the curve because I noticed that when I sew this pattern, I don't need as much of a curve on the side. So when you see me pinning that weird, that's why I'm doing that. And then I just go ahead and I zigzag the edges of each of the sides to keep the fraying down. So I'm going to catch you back in just a second to explain the rest of it. Now again here I need 1 back panel and 2 front panels, so you can see I'm cutting a little bit away from the distance from the side. That's just to give me a little bit more room for my size. Now to start sewing things together, so you just take your back panel and you sew one side of one front panel on one side and then the other side of the other front panel on the other, and that creates basically just one long strip. Then I trimmed down where I took out a little bit of the side curves, and then I zigzagged the edges. Okay, now that the panels are all sewn together, I believe what I did next is I just went ahead and I hemmed the bottom. It was the length that I wanted it to be, so I just went ahead and I hemmed that really small, and then from there I could kind of fit the skirt around myself and see where I wanted to cut these sides. So I needed to cut the inside to match to match where the side is, and then I wanted to cut the front to match where I wanted that to end. So I measured those and I chopped them, and then I just also rolled the hem for that as well. And now to finish up the last of the exposed edges is I take the top of the skirt and I also just hem that. So all of my edges are cleaned up at this point. And now the last step is for the tie. So I measured one to be 37, I believe, inches, and then the other tie to be 15 inches from each of the sides, because I need one to be short and one to be long so it could wrap around my back and then tie to meet the other one. So I just took the side of the curtain that I was using, just trimmed that off, and then I made it into a little bias tape basically, and then just sew that to make it a tie. And then from there I could literally just sew it onto the edges of the skirt. And then the last step that I need to do is sew a buttonhole on the side, and that's where the string is going to go through, so that I can bring it around my back and then tie it. So from there we are all done, and I guess I will see you all in the review. Now the next step was to hem the bottom, so I just did a small rolled hem. I didn't take any of the length off because I already had it where I wanted it, so I just went ahead and I did that. Now I had to trim the front panel. So you can see here, this is where I goofed it, and I cut on the wrong side of the pin that I was supposed to be doing. So I kind of had to switch sides of what I was doing, but yeah, just trim it where you need it. Then once I trimmed those sides, I again just rolled the hems on those. And then to finish up the last of the exposed edges, the top then gets a rolled hem, and that should be all of the exposed seams covered up. Now to make the little straps or the ties for the skirt, you can see that I just used the edge of the skirt in here because it was already folded and it was just easy to cut. So I took that, and then once I cut it off, I took it to the ironing board and I folded it to look like a bias tape. Then I closed it up and sewed one of the edges, and then it could be attached to the skirt. And so then you can see here that I'm just sewing it straight on to each edge of the skirt, and we are almost ready. The last step for the skirt to do is to sew a little buttonhole, and that's where the one inside strap is going to go through so it can wrap around the other side and tie. And so we are ready for the final look. this all turned out surprisingly well, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure at no point in this project did I actually know the next thing I was going to do. So it actually kind of worked out. Because for the top, I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then I didn't know that I was just going to do a random white back. And then for the skirt, I was actually planning on doing shorts. And then I was planning on doing some other kind of skirt. And then I just randomly, at the last minute, chose to do a wrap skirt. So, like, I really had no idea what I was doing. But I think it turned out really cute. It's giving very much summer vibes. I think I'm going to wear this to a brunch that I'm going to this weekend and get some wear and tear on it. The skirt turned out really cute. I'm very happy with that. And the shirt is pretty good. I think it matches best with this skirt, so I don't know if I would wear it much without it. But considering how all of my other crochet shirts turned out, I'd say this is very much a win because they didn't turn out. So, and I love the like square design on this a lot. Like the dark yellow matches very nicely with the skirt. So overall, this was a success. It's just another thing that I can add to my summer wardrobe, and I'm glad I got to get these curtains out of my stash. It would have been a good material to use for shorts because it's kind of like a jean material. But for the sake of the project and not wanting to deal with zippers and shorts and whatnot, I think going the skirt option was, I think, a good move. And this is definitely something that I will for sure be wearing again. Like, it's comfortable, it styles well, so I think I will for sure be wearing this again in my future. The crochet top, it might be an occasional wear. Unless I'm wearing them together, then I will definitely wear it. So yeah, another quick project this week, but it's something that needed to happen. And I could add some more clothes to my wardrobe. So let me know if you'd like this. Let me know what you want to see more of. So anything to do, if you like what I did, go and like and subscribe. I post most Saturdays, mostly at noon, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you for watching!